UFC 321 Aspinall vs. Gane took place on October 25th at Etihad Arena in Abu Dhabi, UAE. The gate was not released, but the total revenue would have been boosted by sponsorships, merchandise sales, and site fees that for a pay-per-view card in the Middle East can range as high as $25 to $35 million. Not to mention the UFC's broadcasting deal with ESPN, which pulls north of $500 million a year. But how big of a slice did the fighters actually take home? The UAE Mixed Martial Arts Federation does not disclose fighter pay, so while Venom sponsorship and fight bonuses are released, the purses are based on disclosed earnings from past events. And a huge shout out to everyone who stuck with the last video. My voice was shot and it was 2 days late, but you guys still ran it up to 26,000 views and helped push the channel over 10,000 subscribers. That's absolutely insane, and I appreciate every single one of you for it. Now let's jump into the first fight.
Every fighter that's under contract, if you want to tell the media what you're paid, that's up to you.
Starting with the feature prelim, Nasrat Haqparast and Quillan Salkilld threw heavy hands in the first round of their lightweight clash as Haqparast avoided his opponent's takedown attempts to keep the fight on the feet. That wouldn't end well for Haqparast, however, as midway through the round, Salkilld uncorked a head kick that absolutely starched him, sending him crashing to the mat. Salkilld walked away with a sensational first round knockout victory. Haqparast likely took home close to $84,000 to show and $11,000 in Venom sponsorship, also known as Fight Week incentive, putting him at $95,000 on the night. While in his third fight off the Contender Series, Salkilld earned around $14,000 to show and $14,000 for the win, $4,000 in sponsorship, and a well-deserved $50,000 performance of the night bonus, for a total of $82,000. Kicking off the main card, Aleksandar Rakić connected with several kicks and punches to take an early lead against his light heavyweight opponent, Azamat Murzakanov. Murzakanov did a good job of defending Rakic's takedown attempts to keep it standing. Later in the round, a right hand by Murzakanov dropped Rakić, forcing him to shell up on the canvas. It only took one follow-up shot on the ground for the referee to call the fight, handing Azamat Murzakanov the first round knockout win. Despite the loss, Rakić made around $95,000 to show, along with $11,000 in sponsorship pay, taking home $106,000. While Murzakanov earned a projected $34,000 purse and $34,000 for the win, along with $6,000 in sponsorship, for a total of $74,000. The second bout saw Jailton Almeida immediately shoot a takedown against his heavyweight opponent Aleksandar Volkov, but threw virtually no strikes for 3 minutes until Volkov was able to reverse the position. It was a pattern that would repeat itself throughout the entirety of the fight, as Almeida would continue to score takedowns, but really do nothing with them, while Volkov remained active from his back and in the clinch, staying ahead on the strike count. At the end of 3 rounds, despite being controlled for over 10 minutes on the ground, Aleksandar Volkov would come away with a split decision win. In his last fight, Almeida took home $110,000 according to the California State Athletic Commission, meaning he would have pulled around $115,000 for this outing, as well as $6,000 in sponsorship pay, for a total of $121,000. Meanwhile, the veteran Volkov, on his 18th fight with the UFC and on the cusp of a title shot, earned an estimated $250,000 to show, with a $100,000 win bonus, as well as $16,000 in Venom sponsorship, giving him a total of $366,000. In the third fight, Umar Nurmagomedov started strong by taking the fight to the mat early, but his control was short-lived as Mario Bautista threatened with a deep toe hold, forcing him to scramble. Nurmagomedov was able to survive and regain top position, finishing the first round in control. Early in the second, however, Bautista stunned him with a brutal knee that briefly dropped him. Umar used his grappling to recover and shifted the momentum back in his favor. He leaned on his wrestling to close out the fight and came away with a unanimous decision win. Bautista made a disclosed $43,000 at UFC 292, though he's on the third fight of a new contract he signed prior to his bout with Jose Aldo, likely pulling in around $76,000 to show, with $16,000 in sponsorship pay and a total of $87,000 on the night. Nurmagomedov, on the other hand, was listed at a flat $100,000 for his title challenge in his last outing, which is a laughably inaccurate number when in reality he likely made much more. However, my theory is that amount could actually have been pretty close to his contracted rate, prior to side letters and locker room bonuses for the championship fight. So for this fight, I have him in the ballpark of $125,000 to show in his 9th outing with the promotion, along with a $125,000 win bonus and $6,000 in Venom sponsorship for a $256,000 paycheck. In the co-main event, Mackenzie Dern impressed early, landing heavy strikes and forcing Jandiroba to initiate grappling exchanges. While Jandiroba secured a few takedowns, she couldn't generate much offense early on. This improved in round 2, where she found more success in both the wrestling and striking, and carried that momentum into round 3, where she controlled much of the frame from top position. Dern rebounded in the 4th, keeping the fight standing and outstriking an increasingly fatigued Jandiroba. In the final round, Jandiroba again controlled the position, but absorbed significant damage from the top. Dern ended the fight with a takedown of her own, finishing strong and ultimately taking a competitive unanimous decision win. Disclosed title challenger purses often sit in the $350,000 to $500,000 range. However, side letters and undisclosed pay can potentially increase that amount by hundreds of thousands. For Virna Jandiroba, I put her firmly in that $350,000 to $500,000 range, along with $32,000 in sponsorship, totaling $457,000 on the night. And as for the winner and new women's strawweight champion, Dern was already listed at 200 and 200 3 fights ago, leading me to believe that she earned a guaranteed $500,000 to $750,000 for this title challenge, along with $32,000 in sponsorship, coming out to an estimated $657,000. Only 11% of the people watching this video are subscribers, so if you're enjoying the content and want to keep up with all the latest videos, take a moment to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. And if you made it this far, you already know the unfortunate result of the heavyweight main event of the evening. After a start to the first round that saw the challenger Ciryl Gane looking on point against the champion Tom Aspinall, a double eye poke rendered Aspinall unable to continue the fight. Speculation was immediately sparked online about the severity of the poke, but regardless, it resulted in a no contest and meant that Aspinall would retain his title and await a likely rematch with Gane. Estimating Gane's purse is a puzzle I've yet to solve. He claims that back in 2022 when he headlined UFC Paris, he earned between $2 and $3 million. While it's possible, I have no way of verifying the claim, so take it with a grain of salt. I tend to believe he was either exaggerating or including other income outside of his UFC paycheck. So I went more conservative for his 3rd title challenge. Surely he made over $1 million, but $2 million would put him around what Kamaru Usman and Alex Pereira were making early in their title runs. So I have a hard time believing he made more than that. He'd also earned the challenger's $32,000 in sponsorship pay, giving him an estimated total of $1,532,000 on the night. And as for the still UFC heavyweight champion, Tom Aspinall has had quite the ride over the past couple years. Essentially benched awaiting a potential clash with Jon Jones, Dana White alluded to making the weight worth Aspinall's while. According to John Nash, Stipe Miocic made $5 million guaranteed for his fight against Jones last year. While I don't think Tom made that much, with the help of the enormous site fees in the Emirates, I can easily see him in the $3 to $4 million range, along with the champion's $42,000 in sponsorship, as well as his cut of the pay-per-view revenue. Reports from earlier this year suggest that UFC pay-per-view sales are down overall, so taking that into consideration, I'm estimating 350,000 buys, and using the standard rate most recently outlined in 2022 agency documents prepared for Francis Ngannou's negotiations, Aspinall would have earned an additional $150,000, coming out to a grand total of $3,692,000. And last but not least, my video on UFC 320 got nearly 26,000 views as of this posting, translating to a little over $100. Corrections to the numbers I've shown will be listed in a pinned comment below. As always, thanks for watching. See you next week for UFC Fight Night, Garcia vs. Onama.